to The Pod Has Spoken. Very, very excited for two reasons. The episode was not a blood moon, triple roll of the dice whammy. I would say season 50's hourglass. The season 50 hourglass was the blood moon of last week. Second reason I'm excited, now that we're past the blood moon, is that we have one of our good podcast friends on, always with great takes, hilarious, Jeopardy superstar, and Survivor 46?
45. The new era, they
45.
blend together, you know? Who can...
That's what I keep saying.
Yeah.
So 45, this is Drew, by the way, everyone, if you can't tell by his voice.
It's been a while, you know.
See it from season 45. What theme would you have given 45 in hindsight? Do you have, if we don't want to remember them by numbers anymore, what do we have?
45, I mean, it could be like, you know, the Bachelor in Paradise season, you know, maybe Austin and D a little. I mean, that's something. We were boring, you know, maybe like summer camp counselor type, you know. 46 would be like divorced household, I would say, you know, crumbling, you know, abuse, etc. I don't know what our season, I don't know what the seasons would be, you know, they get squeezed together. But anyways, Tyson,
I would say the showmance bromance. Because you had the bromance with Austin, and then also the showmance with Dee and Austin.
That's a great one. And I'm honored. You know, I'm honored to be one of those bromances. That's good. And the boys' night and such and such. Yeah. But I thought you were right. This was a good episode. This is a good episode to be talking. It was an interesting one. Last week with the blood moon was pretty painful. I was like, you know, what is this, Spirit Halloween? Like, you know, everything's orange, and they're like, Jeff is like, it's the blood moon. You know, I was like, okay, well, you know, I'm not going to watch this, but this was a great episode, and so I'm happy to be here.
Good. Yeah, let's get into it. So we still get the trickle-down effect of the blood moon. There's conversation around what happened as everyone gets back into camp. And two notables right off the bat. Tiffany is absolutely pissed at Jonathan. Is she right to be this upset? Like, I don't know what they had fully talked about, but in a group of 5 going to tribal council, it's like I would just be happy it's not me. Like, honestly, totally. I come back from that group, I'm like, okay, now I can readjust. Whatever. Now I know Jonathan's not with me, but she is doing everything she can to not scream out in rage at Jonathan.
Yeah, totally. Well, I think like one thing is that Tiffany really doesn't have that many like pieces on the board. You know, Tiffany has Camilla, Tiffany has Dee. Tiffany really doesn't have anybody else. So it's like a huge loss to lose Camilla. But then like the second thing was, and, you know, can we curse? Is this a family friendly, you know?
As much as you can.
Excellent. Amazing. We'll just pack them in. All right, good. You're good. But then I was kind of like, well, what the fuck are you talking about, Tiffany? Because like you just betrayed Jonathan. You just whooped Jonathan's number 1. Yep. And he was like, you know, he was pretty nice about this Camilla thing. And so you're like, I'm shocked. Like, they must really think Jonathan is a fucking moron. Like he's got to stop saying Mr. Jeff and tribal. You know, he's got to he needs to do some image repair because they clearly have low expectations of the guy. I thought it was kind of an over the top.
So what image? What image repair coaching would you give Jonathan then? Well, so don't say Mr. Jeff anymore.
No more Mr. Jeff. I mean, I don't know. He's bought too far into like the lunkhead thing. Like at Tribal, I was so struck by this. I remember the quote at Tribal. He says to Jeff, you know, we drew a line in the sand, but a line in the sand lasts. So I was like, that's the whole fucking point of a line in the sand. Like it goes away, Jonathan, dude. Like, come on, man. But I don't think Jonathan's a moron. I think he's actually playing pretty well. I think he's making some moves. I buy into the notion that like he's baiting D versus just like, you know, creating that narrative in the confessional. But I think the fact Tiffany was so mad is a sign that like Jonathan is lumped together with Joe as like, you know, like the big galoots. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah. Is that bad
Tiffany,
for Jonathan?
Like kind of keep it under wraps a little bit? Mostly, like most of her explosion was privately in a confessional. Obviously, like it shouldn't exactly mend all the bridges in this episode with Dee going home, but you know, aren't you allowed to like feel your feelings privately
you can definitely
in Survivor
feel your
as long as you don't bring it out and, blow up your game.
Yeah, but people can also feel that.
Oh, yeah.
Because later, who was the one that blew up publicly? It was Dee, right? It wasn't Tiffany.
No.
But you can feel when somebody's really irked at you. Like Jonathan can feel that. And now it's like up to him and also the people around him. Totally. Like, is Tiffany justified in feeling these feelings? Their perception only. Like, yeah, everyone's allowed to feel their feelings, but what is the tribe's perception of her feeling those feelings? That also matters. It's like, oh, if she gets this pissed about this thing where she actually also was like betraying people, then when it's me and her, that's a problem too now. Like, I can't have somebody be so upset at a mistake or a wrong move or when they get betrayed or lied to. Like, you need someone who can be like, good move, like, let's come back together, whether it's true or not. I do believe that, a lot of body language, it's knowing your audience, knowing how people really feel. Like House of Villains, we talked a little bit before. There's Paul from Big Brother and me, like, we're pretending like we are working with each other, but both of us know in our hearts that we cannot work with each other. But neither one of us is saying that to the other one, but both of us understand that. And I think that this is where Tiffany could be too emotional in this moment for the people who are either on the fence about which direction to go. Like, it's just every little thing, every little action, every little feeling, it counts towards something reading into something. Counts for somebody reading into something, I would say. Drew?
Totally. I mean, I completely agree. On the one hand, I feel like if Jonathan thought that he was good with Tiffany, or at least that there was like some chance of like refounding that relationship, would he have torched Dee so hard, so publicly? Like, for me, like, he probably sensed that things were kiboshed with Tiffany, which is a sign, right. Which is a sign that like maybe that relationship, or that it was obvious that she was pissed. But I also think that this is really a season of like intuitors. Season 40, we had like so many great strategists. And I think that actually, if you look at the cast of season 50, we don't really have that many good strategists. And in contrast, Cirie is a great strategist, but Cirie is also really a great intuitor. And that's kind of that's why she's so good. And similarly, Dee, a great intuitor. I mean, like, we have some of the best intuitional players to ever play on the same beach. And I don't think I would consider more than a handful of these guys to be really great strategists. So the game is going to be based on vibes more so than maybe like some other previous returning seasons, if you ask me.
I feel like I like that take. Yeah.
I do too. I think even Cirie's strategy is being intuitive. Yeah. I do think that she follows her intuition and has so many good reads. Like, she immediately, who did she clocked Stephanie as lying, like immediately.
Dude. Oh, wow. Just got rolled.
I played a backyard survivor at Mae Martin and Parv's house in LA with Cirie there. Ethan was there. Cirie was there. I was there.
When was this?
This was a year or two ago.
Dude, they should have aired this instead of 50. I mean, this is the real content.
Where was my invite?
It was in LA, dude. You live a few hours away.
I could fly down.
Okay, we'll do it next time.
With Cirie.
So, Cirie and I went to Exile Island together in this game, and we get locked in the guest house, and we find an idol together that we share. So I was like, and if you get rid of the other person, then you get the idol to yourself. And Cirie's like, I'm not telling anybody, nothing. And then the groups got broke into two, and we had to eliminate someone from the other side. And conversation was about Cirie. And I glanced over at Cirie as our group is talking. And Cirie immediately comes over to me and is like, what you doing, Tyson? I know. I can tell. I can tell that you guys are targeting. And I was like, dang, dude. So I was like, I need to remember that for next time, not to look at the person we're having a conversation about from the outside as soon as the conversation is happening. And it was a learning moment for me, but also I was like, she clocked it so quickly that I was like, that was scary to me. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to not cross Cirie. or be the catalyst. Let somebody else do that because Cirie is going to read you.
I feel like what she did, like one of the other things that was so masterful here is that I feel like often in Survivor, when we see one person catch another in a lie, it becomes immediately like confrontational, right? Yeah. And she's like laughing about it with Stephanie, and Stephanie just spills the beans and they're like all good.
Yeah. Yeah. It is funny. And I also, what if Stephanie had stuck to her guns instead? Like, no, I actually didn't. I really didn't. Like, because Cirie's at this point, maybe she has an inkling, but she also is like fishing. Like maybe Steph sticks to her guns. Would Cirie have believed her then?
No, I think Cirie had more than an inkling. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we have so much to talk about this episode. I mean, we're going to buckle up for a long one, but we'll try and be also respectful of Drew's time. Aubrey forgets to play her idol, Drew.
Dude, what was she thinking? You know? And Aubrey has got this like elder millennial like unhappiness, you know, like the millennials, they hit a certain age, their parents' age, they sour. I mean, they're just not fun to be around. Aubrey is like a vacuum on this season. And like, the I forgot to play it lie was so contrived because first of all, how could she ever possibly think anyone would believe that? And second of all, it's kind of like a patent move to like say you're going to play the idol and not play the idol, you know? Like, I feel like it's been...
Just be like, I felt safe.
Yeah.
I felt safe, so I kept it.
Exactly. I mean, Malcolm did it. Rizzo did it, which they haven't seen. I'm sure there are other people that are just not like jumping to mind who did it. It was such like an unnecessary lie. And when you lie unnecessarily and when you double down, people really are not going to, you know, I mean, that's going to sour people against you on an emotional level. Because, I mean, lying was a big theme this episode. Everyone lies.
Yeah.
And the expectation is kind
except for Coach.
Yeah, except for Coach. Which I'm sure you can speak to. You know, Tyson is the coach whisperer. But the expectation is kind of that like everyone lies and it's just part of the game. But when the music stops, you're going to have to level with people. And when you don't take that opportunity, when somebody turns off the music and you don't level, it really is kind of like it's almost seen as like bad form or like, you know, like improper etiquette. So Aubrey not taking any of those exits to level and say like, oh, I'm just doing the Malcolm thing, you know, or right. I don't know. I thought it was really bad.
Literally all she had to do is say, I felt safe.
Yeah.
I was going to play it. Then I felt safe and decided I'll just play it this time and do the Rizzo thing. Like, and also, why the fuck didn't she keep the idol again? Like, why did she play it this time? Like, she's already done it. If she would have owned up to it and then said, I'm going to play it this time because I can't afford to not play it this time. And then she probably felt totally safe again, this tribal council. She should have just rode with it one more time.
So Tyson, I felt the exact same as you on this at first. And I think that like 5 years ago, that absolutely would have been the move. But I wonder, like, I'm a firm believer that Survivor is not played the same as it was 10 seasons ago. And I wonder if actually the idol is an impediment. Especially because, I mean, obviously Christian is going to, you know, has incentive to vote her off, but also having a public advantage means that everyone can play around it really easily. And Aubrey has no allies, so nobody's going to cue her off, really, except for maybe Tiffany. And if she doesn't have that idol, suddenly she kind of floats back into the pack and she becomes one of the middle people for this impending confrontation, rather than like a sore thumb who they can eliminate just to prolong that confrontation. So I almost thought if like getting rid of the idol is like an opportunity to rebuild and like, this is a fresh start. Like I can reintegrate here, which is what, you know, on my season, this is what we told Bruce. Austin and I said, like, listen, with this idol, you've got too much power. You're like the opposing figurehead for our alliance. And we're just going to keep coming after you. But as soon as you give up that power, it's like a fresh start and we'd be willing to work with you. So I almost thought that maybe actually in a game of Survivor where like the social game really is everything, where moves are based on vibes, where people are too disorganized and deceitful to like actually orchestrate long-term strategy, that the idol doesn't really matter, and giving it up is like a way to kind of like reset and you know, buy yourself a few votes.
I agree with you, Drew. And I also think that like doing I'm going to play the idol and then you don't play it. And you're like kind of constantly pulling the rug out from people, like just lying to them over and over. And it's like a cheesy move, like eventually it doesn't actually garner you respect, but just feels like almost, I don't know, like kind of clownish in a way. This is how I felt about Rizzo last season. Like, I think if he had made it all the way to the end, he would have found out that his like dangling the idol every week, obviously he was doing it very theatrically, but it would have been something that I don't actually would have given him a lot of respect versus like not having the idol, having skin in the game, it gives you the ability to make some moves that do garner you that respect.
Well, let's think outside the box a little bit here. What if Aubrey had made a fake idol and turned that in? And then Jeff's like, this is not an idol. And then Aubrey looks around and is like, what? I don't even have a...
But it's a boomerang idol. She knows, like, it got sent to her by Christian and Devins. She thinks Devins, but...
Yeah, so but then she can be like, look at them and be like, who sent this? Then it's not like... I don't know. Maybe there's a world where she could do something like that, but probably not actually now that you say that, because production most probably was like, grab your bag and come to a confessional and then open your bag and find a thing. So you're right.
Yeah, it's like confirmed. I'm an idiot. Like they know it's a real idol. The other thing too is because it's a boomerang idol, she can't even transfer this to anyone else or play it on anyone else, which she kind of forgets because she says, oh, I'm playing this for myself, but she can only play this one for herself.
Yeah.
And so she doesn't even have the ability to do like an interesting move where, she saves an ally or protects somebody, earns somebody's trust and loyalty, because she literally can't. And to your point, Drew, the way that public advantages are easy to play around, this is the easiest advantage to play around. Yeah. You just don't vote for her and she can't do anything with it.
Yeah. Drew.
Yes.
If you're on that beach and Christian comes up to you and is like, get a load of Aubrey. She said she forgot to play the idol. How upset with Aubrey are you on a scale of 1 to 10 in that moment? I mean, like Christian was telling everyone.
Play the idol and she didn't?
Get a load of Aubrey. She said she was going to play her idol and then said she forgot. Like, that means nothing to me if I wasn't in that group of five and didn't witness it firsthand or be close enough with Aubrey.
She'd probably be an object of like ridicule. Like, oh my God, like how stupid do you think we are? Like she's, it's kind of hilarious. Like I loved Jake, but Jake would like flail around and it was pretty funny, and so we would all be like, get a load of this guy, like, oh my gosh, here, look at this thing you found in the tree trunk. That's like, two sticks tied together by twine. Like, oh my God, I'm not like mad at Jake, but,
yeah.
No, it was unusual. And I also, just in terms of like the hanging on to the idol thing, I had one more thought, Riley, which is you were talking about Rizzo being kind of clownish, made me think of this. But recently, like the last few seasons, I haven't watched the last 2 seasons really very closely. I didn't care for 48, 49, but I've been thinking a lot about like how actually what you say at tribal council is like a really important way to negotiate power hierarchies. Like the position you have in tribal council and like what you say and how people respond to it. I think that, and this will be relevant, but I think that people are, if you are higher in the hierarchy, people are more willing to respect like your metaphors, for instance, or to build off what you say. And if you're lower in the hierarchy, people are more prone to disagree with you. So for instance, everyone was dunking on Joe. It's because Joe's in the bottom of the hierarchy, even though his firehouse thing I thought was pretty, fair. But the same type of way, so you can really manipulate your position in the hierarchy by advocating for yourself and arguing and defending your points and prosecuting them at tribal council. And so when you have like an advantage that's very public and you're doing this like song and dance at tribal over and over again, the intended effect is like, I'm like a big mover. I'm like I can do things. You don't know what I'm going to do. I could be safe. I could be immune. But the very fact of like threatening it over and over again and not needing to play it, the very fact of it working out signals to people that you're not a threat, signals to people that actually you're kind of irrelevant and you're just doing your own thing. And I think it can really cost people status because they begin to write you off and say like, oh, well, they may have the idol, but it's not really consequential because we're moving on past it. I think this happened to Xander a little bit.
Yeah.
And so you only want to like play that card so many times before people are actually just like, well, let's just write them off. They're not really relevant.
Right. And I do believe that is kind of what we understood from the cast of 49 about Rizzo. Had he made it to the end, most people did not feel that he was threatening enough to actually win the jury votes. And so Sophie B kind of was like, no, like I'm going with Rizzo because I will win in a final jury. And I think that was the belief of most of the people, whether it was just for that or other reasons. So yeah, I do agree with that. Can we do a little memorial for the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol? Because it's over. It's kind of a bust this season because Aubrey playing hers, it can't boomerang back to Christian. Yep.
And Genevieve's out, so Ozzy's idol and Rizzo's idol can't boomerang back to Genevieve. So that's it. It's
just a normal idol now.
Is it not even a normal idol, or can they still only play it on themselves?
Because you can't play.
Yeah, it's actually we got like nerfed idols this season.
So is that then going to be a problem for Suri down the road when the two people she's aligned with are the only two with the idols? And people know that they can't be played on anybody. So to weaken that group, they're going to go for the people who don't have the idols.
They can't even play it on. This is the thing with the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol. And
you don't have to say Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol every time on the podcast.
I'm trying to give it the respect, okay?
On Survivor, if you were on Survivor, yes, they would. There's actually a very funny TikTok out there with a girl pretending. I want to be respectful to
Billie.
Yeah. It could be
This is my biggest problem with it, though, is that it's like it stifles the gameplay, though. I don't understand why they made it that you can't transfer it and you can't play it on anybody else, because it's just like that's some of the biggest moves in Survivor history are people playing the idol on someone else that's not even them and correctly reading that the votes were going in a different direction or whatever. And I have no idea why they were like, that's something we want to remove from the game. We want to make these idols super public and they can only be played on one person.
And super rigid. So what about this? What if the Billie Eilish idol had swung the other direction
Drew, you disagree. Wait.
Okay.
Drew's making a face.
Drew?
I just feel like they're kind of chasing the high of like 46, where like 5 people went out with the idol back to back to back. And so if you can play the idol on someone else, there's more incentive to like get rid of it early. You have more opportunity to use it. Whereas what they're really looking for is somebody like betraying their ostensive ally to get the idol back. Like the Billie idol is designed as like a booby trap, right? They're not interested in helping whoever gets the idol. They want the kind of betrayal to like emphasize like, wow, high stakes personal conflict. These guys didn't pregame, they're betraying one another. So that's kind of like my rationale for like just strategically what the goal was. But I'm sorry, Titan, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, why not take the Billie Eilish idol one step further and say, okay, you have to gift it to someone, but you can't play it on yourself. You have to play it on someone else.
Yeah, that's great.
And if you play it on someone else correctly, you get your own idol. Wow. Now it's getting played and there's fireworks at Tribal Council because you are trying to figure out exactly which way the votes are going so you can play it for somebody, and you're doing it immediately. So you're getting a wild Tribal Council right then and there as soon as that idol goes to Tribal Council.
So now that Aubrey has fleshed her idol, do you think you get a new idols out there? Like maybe not a Billie Eilish one.
I would assume so.
Like a John Cena.
Yeah, the John Cena. The John Cena super suplex.
Yeah.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Isn't he like a Survivor fan or something?
Sia. Where is Sia? Why is Sia not part of this?
I just saw her on a different show.
So did I on jury duty.
Yeah, on jury duty. And I was like, Sia, wrong show, girl. What are you doing?
She's over us. Huh. Yeah, we didn't do it. They didn't invite Carolyn back and she's done. She's not going to watch anymore.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we lost 2 good ones there. So let's talk about D versus Jonathan and Coach. I loved this. I would love to have woke up to this.
Oh my God. It's so juicy.
Like you're sleeping there at camp, Drew, and all of a sudden this is happening.
This is the kind
How
of shit
happy are you?
Oh, I'm
the peanut gallery, man.
I know, and Emily was so funny with it. I mean, Tyson, I felt like I was...
The group kind of got bigger and bigger. Like people were collecting to watch this. It was so good.
It was delish. And Tyson, I almost felt like envy for you. And I felt so privileged to be talking to you for this because there were so many great coach moments in this episode. And like Rizzo was doing his best Tyson impression, like coaching the coach, and I was like, wow, was this what it was like?
I should have been there. I should have been there. Like literally, I have almost zero desire to ever go on Survivor again. But watching Coach spin out of control without me there to just like try to chill him out or even just witness it. Like I feel sad that I was just for this day. Like if they had any inkling that Coach was going to spin out of control, Jeff should have called me and been like, "We're getting you out to Fiji just for a day for a reward. Are you good? Coach is there and he's probably going to be with you." I was like, "Hells yeah, let me get out there and see what's happening." So this is maybe the first time in 5 or 6 years where I have had even a small desire to be back on that island. And that's only because I would have loved to witness this firsthand. This is literally why you go on reality TV to watch moments like these. You don't have to be part of them. You don't want to be part of them, but you want to have a front row seat to all of the action. And you think that Jonathan really was 100% trying to ramp D up with, this was his whole idea from the get-go. Because sometimes as a returning player, especially, you understand you can change the narrative once you go into a confessional an hour after everything happens.
I sense the skepticism, and I see it in Ashleigh. I see it in your face. But I'm not necessarily opposed to this idea, honestly, because I think it made a lot of strategic sense to bait D, and I think that also it was really just out of nowhere. Like he really rose to the occasion to do it, and he also did it on like friendly turf where like Coach was there to back him up. So I bought that.
And he threw it at Coach.
Yeah.
He pretty much like threw it at Coach and D and then ducked a little bit. But then every time it would kind of slow down, he would fire again to keep it going.
And also there's Jonathan is like mentored by Boston Rob or something. Like they're best buddies or what is the deal with this?
Yeah, they live in the same town.
Buds. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm just saying it seems to me plausible, especially, since it was very well executed and he kind of like stayed below the threshold. And he obviously had talking points because he hit D on the same talking point at Tribal when she started to get a little bit of traction. And she just was totally capable of responding to it either time. So I'm willing to give him strategic credit for it, even if it wasn't like, like mega minded, he wasn't sitting up late at night like Tony being like, "Oh, I'm going to bait D and then I'm going to et cetera, et cetera."
Yeah. I liked it. I also, Coach played it okay here for a little bit. I think he like kind of seemed hurt and was like, "Oh, D," then he spiraled.
Well, then he goes back to the tribe and he's like, if anyone plays where they're lying, like they're not going to win. Like,
if I'll hold you to that right now,
it's like,
then whoever has told a lie in this game cannot win this game.
Who is the Dragon Slayer for Coach? Because he's like, "I'm the Dragon Slayer. Now I'm back to the old Dragon Slayer. But we're the new Dragon Slayer. We're playing for the honor and we're lying like the Dragon Slayer should." I'm like, the Dragon Slayer is this like schizophrenic, umbrella identity. Like anytime he wants to feel cool, he's the Dragon Slayer. Whenever we're doing anything, it's just very indefinite. I thought this was really kind of a meltdown moment for Coach. I mean, it was like, you guys ever read like Heart of Darkness, or see Apocalypse Now? No? Okay. Yeah, I was getting big like Kurtz vibes, he's like the psycho commander stuck in the jungle, losing his marbles. This is a good reference. You should Google it if you don't know it. Like I'm really onto something here.
Yeah.
But I also was thinking like, wow, Coach is just not good at Survivor. I kind of fell for the South Pacific rebrand where, he was insecure at first, but then he was growing into himself and he really could be an effective leader. And he's actually just not good at Survivor. And so it'll be interesting to see how, like, if there are any competent players in this, loyal five, how they can kind of use him and manipulate him going forward.
Yeah, it's interesting. I want to touch on so many things here from this conversation. We get Coach addresses everybody. after, they suck D in. So he is raging mad. And then Emily, not buying into it for even a second, is just like, Coach is the biggest liar here. Like, what is he? Calls him a hypocrite, does all of that. And then Coach all of a sudden goes into haiku mode. I don't know if this was... Has he
he's
been
so
doing
happy
haikus
with himself with these haikus too. He's like,
and he's so
did you hear that
pumped.
one? And everyone's
nobody else
just
cares.
like,
one of them wasn't a haiku. I'm almost
Probably
certain that
multiple
one
of
of
them
them
weren't a haiku.
Yeah, and I was like, I was counting with them, and I'm like,
is it 474?
One of
I thought it was 585.
575.
575.
One of the first ones he did was like betrayal all around. That's 6, already wrong. Nobody tells the truth like Coach. What's that one about? And then war has been declared. Oh, I got it, guys.
Yeah.
Nobody tells the truth like Coach is like, that is vintage, Like, that's the kind of shit that like keeps me watching this show when like Zach Brown shows
Should be
up.
on a t-shirt.
Like he's got to sell the merch with that one. I mean, that was good.
He is selling nicknames. You can get your own Coach nickname now.
Yeah. Maybe I'll pay for it, after I talk so badly about him on this. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're not done yet with this whole sequence here, because after Coach is celebrating this haiku that he said and looks around and not a single rise from anybody. Everybody's just like, yeah. Then he's just talking to Joe about Galahad, and Joe cannot not look like a full psychopath every time he's caught with any conversation. His eyes are wide and he's just like,
so good.
He's got crazy eyes.
Crazy eyes.
Like, listen, I always say this. I do feel like maybe it applies to girls more than guys, but like you can see the soul in the eyes. And if those eyes are big like that, they're crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
Joe's eyes would legitimately, freak me out. They're going to like roll out of his
Me too.
His head.
He'd have to go. The second he looks at me one time like that, I'm like, oh shit, dude, this dude has to go.
Yeah. No, I know.
You know what it is? I think it's because he was about to tell Coach, hey, that's cool. And he didn't think it was cool, which is a lie, which is against Joe's character.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. You know what I think it is? I think Joe is putting extra effort into the honorable and integrity stuff because he did last season with Eva, and now he can't not. And so it's not a full facade, but he's feeling trapped and pigeonholed in this character that he played last season, and he's got to do it again. And so he's just like, what?
You think so?
How? A little bit.
Dude, I feel like he gets like so much out of it. And this is one thing that maybe has been frustrating for the season, but it's like the contestants are so bought into themselves. Like everyone is peacocking and performing. And even some like, some golden calves, even some of our like, favorites are just over the top. And Joe is like one of those
Joe's
guys
one of those
who is like obsessed with himself. He wants to be in Hollywood. He wants to be like the righteous hero provider.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't think he thinks it
He's
is
playing a character.
But
I don't think he thinks it. Oh, you're right. You're right. Yeah. He wants to be this, but it's taking some effort for him to be this.
Yeah. I know, and he's really doing a good job too. Like I remember a couple episodes ago, they had like spliced montages of like Coach nicknaming Joe and Colby. Yeah. And Colby was like, whatever, that sounds great, Coach. And Joe was like, oh my God, thank you so much, Coach. You don't know how much this means to me. It was just like a real night and day. I was like, okay, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
They say this about really the firefighters though, they get little hero complexes.
Yeah. But we know the real heroes are people that go on reality TV.
Absolutely.
They provide. Yes. Absolutely.
Amen.
And podcast hosts.
Yeah.
Ozzy and Rizzo back from their exile.
It's too bad they missed so much. Like the exile was a huge advantage, as Ozzy said, but
yes,
man, you missed a lot.
He was so happy he was gone though. After that, you missed a lot, but also like
Ozzy loves exile.
Yeah, they didn't really get talked about because they got these tribes split down into little groups of 3, and they were so happy. Coach continues to stick his foot in his mouth by pulling Rizzo in as a replacement for Colby.
Yes.
What?
Drew, you're Rizzo. Are you going with it? Like Rizzo went with it, but didn't really go with it. Is there any part of you that if you were in that moment would be like, I will be Colby's replacement. I will be better than Colby.
That's the alliance to be in. Coach's alliance. That's 100% the alliance to be in. If I was out there, I believe that Survivor right now is very formulaic and it's really not that hard to play the right way, right? Like it's a lot easier than it used to be. And then there's certain kind of like axioms that you could follow. And that alliance for me, that would be like the gold standard alliance. I mean, I'll bet money that alliance goes deep. And so if I was Rizzo, I'd be like, whatever, like I'm in, you guys are obviously not like the, sharpest bulbs or whatever the expression is. Like I'll ride with you. But I had something else to say there and I've forgotten. But I mean, you're not into it, Tyson?
I would definitely say I'm in, like Rizzo did. But I think that, if you're a replacement for somebody and you're in the 4 spot, you can go for a little bit, but you have to turn on that group. You can't ride or die with that group. Like I'm not ride or dying with that. If I'm the replacement of whoever was number 4 and got voted out. So I think, I don't know what I would have done in that moment, but Rizzo goes to Cirie immediately. And does Rizzo tell them about the coach thing? Maybe he didn't.
I don't have that in my notes. I don't think he told her.
I don't either. But he definitely did say he was going to go with the Cirie's Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. He probably did. Because he tells them about so much else.
So he's the 4th horseman. And he's also in Cirie's Wizard of Oz. He's so
skeptical of Coach too. I mean, he's like, this is like an embarrassment or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't wait to talk to Rizzo when we get him for exit press, because
how do you know he's going to exit?
He's just still out there.
Well, I guess. No, at any point. I mean, at any point, even if he wins or whatever, we'll talk to him after the season or whatever. Yeah. But because he's such a huge fan, and obviously some of these players are fans, but he's really like acting like one out there. He's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm on a beach with Colby and whatever. And I want to hear like which of these contestants sort of measured up to his expectations as an experience to play with. I think Cirie is like a dream for him to play with Cirie. I imagine Coach, like maybe being on the same island with Coach is a dream, but actually playing with Coach feels like it might be a little underwhelming for him.
Yeah. Or exactly what you're hoping to get from Coach. Like,
maybe.
I'm watching this meltdown happen.
Coach clumsily dragging you into the 4 Horsemen Alliance as the like 5th horseman, is maybe, that is the dream.
I mean, is this better than when Coach told Chrissy that she talks too much?
No, that was better.
Yeah, that was tops. But I did feel bad for Chrissy and Stephanie. Like, wow, no women in the 4 Horsemen. Like we're gonna bring in Rizzo. If I'm Stephanie, like Chrissy, I do get the sense they like are not crazy about, but like she's here. But if I'm Stephanie, I'm like, damn guys, like what the we're gonna bring in like this twerp, the twerpiest of them all, Rizzo. Yeah. Like are you kidding me? But I really think that. Like, obviously, you don't want to like go to the end and hope that like, if it's just like the 5 of you or whatever sitting at the end, they're going to choose you because obviously they're not. But there's so much value to like the stable core group in the early merge. My philosophy of the game, 51, they're flying out like imminently if they haven't already. Hypothetically, and
a couple days.
Yeah, on Friday. And so I always liked, supposedly. And so I always liked, maybe we'll cut that. I always like to impart some wisdom on the leaving contestants, which is that, in my opinion, you should build as many allies as possible during the pre-merge and not really do anything. And then in the early merge, you should leverage these connections as the dust is settling, and you should just get with the most stable group possible. Because rather than like the uncertainty of like, these like shifting voting blocks and like all these smart people like Christian and Devins on the one side and Cirie and whoever on the other side, and they're like, trying to play you off of each other and anything could happen. Just choose the stable route at the beginning, So if I see Coach and Jonathan and Joe and their whole shtick is like, we're going to do exactly what we say. Like, okay, I'll take it, like, let's weed out some of the numbers in the biggest tribal council ever. And so if I was Rizzo, I mean, this would be like music to my ears. Like, yeah, I'll be like the Kobe replacement for a little bit, and like we'll get a little bit farther down the road. So all in all, I thought it was a good deal.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. I think, I think Rizzo is in a good spot there. As that 3-pack of Ozzy, Suri, and Rizzo's on the beach, Emily comes up to him,
spills some more beans,
and just says some more secrets to other people. What was Emily's intent here? Was it to target D? Was it to try to get in with that group? What was the deal?
Dude, honestly, I think that she like didn't realize that Rizzo didn't like know that everyone was talking about his idol. I think that
that's
the other advantages have been so public that she was like, well, of course Rizzo knows that people are talking about it. And then she kind of just got caught out, which has happened a couple of times, I feel like, this season for her.
Every episode. Yeah. She just can't not share a secret.
She's so funny. I want to talk to her. I want to know. She's probably so fun to gossip with. Like, girl, why are you telling me that?
Oh, no, she's good. She's good for sure.
We had Angelina. Angelina said on this pod that Emily is actually incredibly strategic and like running things and whatever. But man, we are just not seeing it. I don't know if that's actually true.
I'm Emily's number one defender.
You're her number one defender?
I'm number one defender. I love Emily. Like, Emily and I are tight. Okay. But I think that...
So is all this strategic?
Yes. No. I'm not sure. I'll tell you what I think. But I think that Angelina was probably pissed at Christian and so had an incentive to discredit him and say, like, Emily is doing all the strategy, which is not to say that Emily wasn't doing all the strategy, but more so that, like, you know, we should wait and see. I don't think I would take her word. But then the other point with Emily is I feel like I do think that Emily is maybe like overcorrecting from her for the first time she played. So the first time Emily played, she had Caleb for a while. And of course, the audience, we really saw that done. But she also had like Austin and I for even longer. Yeah. And both of those relationships, she kind of felt like she was actually taken advantage of a little bit. And like more so with Austin and I. And so I think that she's probably struggling this season between like, I have this really close connection with Christian, but I can't be taken advantage of. And so like all the sharing secrets is like an overcorrection to try and like maintain agency and power despite being so closely tied to Christian.
So she doesn't feel the sting of betrayal from those people when they end up betraying her. She's already taking insurance policies out on who she believes she's with.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think that is a big part of it. I just think that like, because Emily didn't really play this way on our season. I mean, she was pretty locked down. And so, you know, I think that this radical like divergence is probably trying to feel more active, even though you are in a similarly tight threesome.
So, yeah, I can see that she is definitely overcorrecting if that's the case, because you don't want to continually get got by the people you're trusting most. So in these scenarios, she's kind of like, okay, if Christian's playing me for a fool right now, I'm going to spill the beans. And then like, I don't look as foolish in these moments. D gets confronted by Rizzo about spilling the beans on the idol. Do you like Rizzo confronting D here? Should he have had that conversation or just kept it to himself? Like, I don't know. I honestly, like, is there a right or wrong here, or does it matter? I know what does matter is that D denied it and nobody's buying any of her shit anymore, which is such a brutal spot to be in. Like, the harder you work to get out of it, the more you get into it.
Yeah. Never on Survivor can you get like caught in one of those conversations where it's like, who is more truthful? Because there's just no way of adjudicating it. So it just basically comes down to like the pile on, right? Engaging one of those conversations, horrible mistake. And Dee did it like 2 or 3 times this episode. I think just because like, you know, she wants to play a little bit more aggressively and like, you know, I forget the exact language, but I don't know. Rizzo confronting her was kind of interesting. I feel like on the one hand, like if you're like burning her, well, I'll actually just like fuck her. I don't care. Like it doesn't really matter to me what she said. But I almost feel like if you wanted to salvage that relationship, it could be like kind of a prudent thing to do. Because if somebody's sharing your secret, they obviously are kind of like stepping out on you a little bit. It's like, in a relationship, they're downloading the dating app, And so if you want to like continue the relationship, like, okay, let's talk about that and get back on the same track. Let's go to counseling. And so I think that in that kind of situation, it probably is the right move to like knock, knock. Hey, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah. I think if you are trying to salvage that, to your point, then you immediately lock that person into an extra layer of they're going to be locked in tighter because they can't afford to misstep with you again. Yeah. So they're going to be like, oh, I have to go above and beyond to show this person that I'm with them. So I'm willing now to fall in line more and be quieter and be extra loyal to this person.
Absolutely. We saw it with Suri. Suri caught Stephanie in a lie, and Suri generously gave Stephanie like room. You're like, it's okay. I'm going to forgive you. Like, no matter what, like we're cool. And so Stephanie kind of told her, and I bet Stephanie probably felt closer to Suri after that. You want to give people room to like forgive and admit they're wrong. It's like politics at Thanksgiving. Every Thanksgiving you go and you argue about politics, and you hate your uncle. And then your uncle, he realizes like, oh my God, we're at war with Iran. And then he's like, well, I can't walk back my opinion because then I'm wrong. You gotta give him a little room to like, come around.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I thought it was.
Is this a metaphor? Is this an allegory?
No.
What's the definition of what
the MAGA alliance and Survivor 50 is on my mind. So I guess that's where it came from. But no, just a metaphor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I believe that Rizzo was giving her a chance to maybe salvage, like he was covering his bases, but maybe he just was like annoyed by it. There's like so many reasons you could target them and do this. But I think if you're going to target them, you're just going to do it without having a conversation about it. But that's if you're thinking strategically, and there's so much information that's just like swirling with this huge group that it's like, what do you share? What don't you share? Who knows what? How do I navigate that? So it gets tricky.
Emily could be lying too, could be checking if Emily's lying.
Yeah, which Dee did deny that she shared that. And then she immediately ran to Tiffany and was like, I told everyone where all the idols are.
Yep.
She told Tiffany and Jonathan. So she immediately is like, this mistake could cost me my game. Has Dee ever been in a position like this in her Survivor career?
No. I think that it was an interesting episode for Dee in a lot of ways. But I think that like the reality is that Dee really had like, was really imbricated in like a tight group. And I see online, I looked myself up on the Survivor Reddit in prep for coming out here, which I haven't done in years. But I was like, I wonder what people are saying in anticipation of, my appearance. Not much, nothing really. But I noticed that the narrative had basically been that like, Dee just like kind of like shepherded us all to the end, which like, I'm not going to like dispute. The past is the past. But I do think that like, Dee had worked really closely with a group that was like willing to like cover for her and bat for her, even when she wasn't there. And so therefore you could kind of do more like impulsive or intuitive things and have a fallback. And I think that maybe we were trying to do the same thing, but without people who would be loyal to you to like help clean up the mess.
Yeah. Or enough people that were loyal to you.
Yeah. Other than to
have. Yeah. Okay, boat shows up to the island. The merge is gigantic. Drew, is there any part of you that's hoping to go on this journey? Or are you like, because if I'm there, I'm like, I'm going to pretend like I don't want to go, but I hope I get selected kind of. Like I'm going to make the most of it if I do, but is that wrong?
No, wrong? Dude, you're 100%. Like I'm like, just personally, I'm power hungry. Like I'm greedy. And I don't want anyone to have an experience that I can't have, that I don't have. So like just default, like let's go on every fucking journey. Even though they're like, they're not fucking worth the squeeze anymore. It's like you get like some trinket and you have to like, tear out your rotator cuff. Like, okay, that sucks. But yeah, you got to go on every
risk
journey.
your vote, and you got to risk your vote too. And like that ended the games of two people on this season.
I think in votes. Yeah, but in a group of 14, you can afford to lose your vote.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's a little bit better. But you don't know. You don't know that it's going to continue to be a group of 14. Are they going to split it up and now you're suddenly in a group of 4 or whatever and you're just dead?
Splitting up again would be crazy.
I do believe after the blood moon last week that no contestant should ever lose their vote again.
When you roll into that challenge and you can see they've got it set up as 2, it's like maybe it was 7. Sorry, I interrupted you, Tyson.
Get rid of the lose your vote. Yeah. I think never. After last week, I learned my lesson completely. Like you can't lose your vote and you're shot in the dark. Otherwise, you're a sitting duck for a small group. There's no other option. You're the only option. Like that's the way it is. There's absolutely nothing you can do to get out of that. Yeah. Colby's there's nowhere for Colby.
It's got to be like, so, they all put their shots in the dark in the bag. And even though Stephanie says she doesn't want to go, I think if she had been like, oh, I don't want to go, don't put mine in the bag, that would have kind of put too much of a spotlight on her. So you all have to go with the group and you all got to leave it up to random chance or whatever. Yes. And then she goes on the journey and it's just like, you're doing this challenge. There's no like, you can choose to do the challenge or you can choose to opt out, but you're risking your vote by doing the challenge. This is what I don't like, is that it's not a choice to risk the vote. If it's a choice, that's one thing, but it's often not a choice. Stephanie just had to do this.
So would she have just lost her vote for one tribal council?
I think so.
Yeah. I don't know. You do make a good point though, but at what point can you say no? Because she could have said, no, I'm not going to go. Somebody else go. That would have been a problem maybe for some people.
You think so?
I would have been like, oh, you're not playing by the rules we agreed to with the shot in the dark drawing out of the bag. But then also you get to keep your vote. Like that's maybe the risk right there in that moment. Or could you do a sleight of hand? Like maybe we should all just become like master pickpockets and pretend to put the shot in the dark in, but really yours isn't even present.
Mm-hmm. This is like the new like Carson prepping for the puzzles. Like I got to practice my sleight of hand for the bag draws, to go on the journeys. Dude,
we need to cast a magician on Survivor.
Yeah,
they should. I can't believe they haven't already.
Is this your card?
Yeah,
Lynn Spillman.
They do need to cast. Yeah, they need to have a master magician that's sleight of hand master. One of the best. I'm going to Google who the best sleight of hand in the world is, and that person should go on Survivor. Because, like, imagine if instead of Chrissy, we have the Wonder Barbara or whoever, and she's like, "Okay, everybody put yours in. I'm putting mine in." Bloop. And then,
how did you come up with Wonder Barbara? Where did that? Why is that like a person?
I was going to say, I just came up with that.
Okay, nice.
I was like, in the moment, I was like, Chrissy was there, a magician. I was going to say a guy's name, but then I was like, but Chrissy was a female operating the bag who came up with the idea to draw the shot in the dark cubes. So we're going to stay with that. So then I was like, Wonder, and then I was trying to think of a female name that started with W, so it's an alliteration, but I couldn't on the spot, so I just came up with Barbara.
That's fair.
So Wonder Barbara is a big fan of the podcast, and she is one of the best sleight of hands that nobody knows. So get her on Survivor. But then she could also, Wonder Barbara could also put after the drawing, put her shot in the dark in the bag as she's giving everyone else their shot in the dark and be like, and here's mine, obviously in the bag the whole time. Ta-da.
That's so suspicious.
Not suspicious at all.
A lot of exposure for, for the 1 in 15.
So Stephanie goes on this. We get some Stephanie flashback and a lot of Stephanie footage.
Yep.
And then she comes back with a lie. Drew, is there a correct way to play this? Like, everyone's assuming you have something.
Okay. This is what I did, which I'm sure people will be shocked. It wasn't shown because apparently the producers were baffled. But I came back and was like, oh, I got something, but I'm not going to say what it is.
Yeah.
Well, because
let them speculate.
Yeah, exactly. Because the threat is always bigger than the reveal. If it's like, oh, if you like steal money from me, I'm gonna like call the police. That's way less bad than like if you steal money from me, I'm gonna do something that you'll never forget. I'm like, okay, holy shit, like okay, let's do it. So I almost think that like when you come back and like the lie is just so ham-fisted, like nobody's gonna, especially if it's like, oh, it was a 2-part challenge and like 30 minutes or an hour, like how would you I just didn't really buy that. I don't think anyone else would. I think there's almost value to saying like, I got something, but I'm not willing to talk about it.
I like that because then they're speculating. They have to prepare for the most powerful thing they think it could be, but it could be stupid. And also, if you fail, you do get something. You gotta lost your vote. So that also like it's easy to maintain some truthfulness to what you're saying, which then Cerie's not clocking as a lie.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it just comes down to like the way that, it's similar to tribal. You can really use like words or information control to like manipulate the hierarchy. This is something that we didn't see on my season, again, along the same thing, but Caleb gave me that advantage, when he came to visit my camp during the 3rd episode, which is a long time ago. But it ended up being clutch because we used it for Austin. But the point is, Caleb gave me that because Caleb asked me, did you get anything on the journey? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, what'd you get? And he's like, you'll have to find out. That's what I said. So then he was kind of spooked by that. And the logic behind it was like, okay, well, if I get to a swap, I can say this advantage is whatever I need, right? And I've kind of had this confidence shared with him so that like, he'll go forward, but it also make me seem like somebody with some power in the game, which is always useful for forging alliances. And it paid off immediately because he offered to trade me the information for the advantage. But the point is, I think that like instead of hamstringing yourself with these like made up lies, just you can withhold that information. And if you withhold it like explicitly, there's a lot of like symbolic value to that and like freaking people out or like giving yourself some kind of aura, like, oh my God.
Yeah. I like that. I think, people definitely fear you and be really skeptical of, I mean, it's not as powerful as like the super idol that Tony had in his first season, but it is kind of akin to like, we don't know what they have. So it's better to just avoid completely until we can figure out or until they use it or until there's definitely enough numbers to split and play, but not split the majority. Like there's so much to it that it just makes it so tricky to play against that person. We get this moment where after Stephanie comes back and Stephanie's like, don't tell anyone. Cerie uncharacteristically goes straight to Rizzo and tells him that Stephanie's lying and that she has an extra vote. Is Rizzo going to be able to keep that secret?
I kind of think so. I mean, he seems to be really locked in with Ozzy and Cerie,
Yeah.
But an insane thing for her to do. I mean, you've never seen this guy play. It could be a Russell Hantz situation. Why would she have done that?
That's how I feel. I feel like she could have kept it secret and maybe should have. But then they talk about D, and it could be time for her to go because Rizzo's like, I caught D. She's not being truthful. Is it time for her to go? Is this the right move for everybody to target D like this? Who is this bad for besides maybe Tiffany?
I feel like it's bad for a lot of people. I'd be interested to hear what you guys think.
Way to defer, Drew.
Well, I didn't want to just drop my 20 minutes of analysis, but I think it was unusual. I thought it was odd.
I think it's bad for a lot of people in the fact that D is a big target. She's the only winner still left in the game. She's obviously got some chops enough to continue to be aggressive. She plays with boldness, which then makes her a bigger target. So I feel like if you're somebody who has felt the heat of being the target in any degree, keeping someone like D in the game is better for you. Like Coach, after this episode, he should have, if he were really intuitive in this moment, should have switched to someone else other than D. Like he should have figured out how to switch it, knowing now that
should have
he
been
is
like
also
Tiffany first or something, and
Go
then
after
it's
Christian.
like you've got D.
Yeah, go after. I mean, there's a lot of people you can go after, and I just feel like it's obvious in a big group. You're also like, well, you just kind of got to go with the flow. You don't want to, ruffle too many feathers. But I do feel like there was a different direction. But in the moment, it's just like so tricky to shift everything, and coach is too emotional to do anything else.
It was especially like baffling because I get the impulse to like, okay, well, there's so many people here. Let's just like pile on somebody. It's kind of been the meta of late. But there is such an obvious five-sum, right? Of like loyal people who are never going to turn on each other. And it's like tied into not just their identities, but like their screen time, right? This is who they're going to be on television, which, I mean, most of these Survivor players would trade $1 million for like screen time. Like they would give up the money to be on like camera more. So like, okay, front and center, we've got.
You think?
Oh, are you kidding me? Like, oh my gosh, dude.
Drew.
Yeah.
I would commit to never going on TV again for $500,000.
Oh, you're wiser, Tyson. Also these guys are
never going on TV hungry. Again
for $500,000. Yes.
How much is the house?
Someone pay me $500,000. I'm out. That was 200.
Okay. All right. Well, it'll come back for the sequel. We'll hit your benchmark.
Okay.
The All-Star season. But I think these guys are really, really freaking hungry for screen time. And you've got Coach, you've got Jonathan, you've got Joe, you've got Chrissy, you've got Stephanie, and they're like a locked five, right? And they're really suspicious of all the dorks, all the smart people, all the schemers, right? So
as they say, the middle people.
The middle people, yeah.
The middle people.
I know. Those not cut from the same cloth. And if I was like Aubrey, Emily, Christian, Devins, I would know these guys were never going to trust me as far as they could throw me. And so you have to act against them and ideally get some of them to turn on that group and like vote with the majority as soon as possible, because you just can't let that solid five get to a point where they can rival you in numbers, where like an advantage could change things, for instance. So voting off D is like, you're not just losing a lightning rod, but you're losing like key numerical leverage. And so when you get rid of D, now you're going to have to count on like Ozzy, for instance, Ozzy betraying the strong, older people who he knows and has played with before. Like, I don't know, guys. It doesn't, and Emily knows this. I mean, Emily wants to hit Coach. Emily's like, why are we taking out D? Like, D's a big threat, but she just doesn't have the agency to do it. And so I think it's kind of a tough, a baffling move, frankly, for like, for Devins and for Christian not to jump on this.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that. Now that you say that, it's the second Devins heard Coach be like the middle people, like Christian, the middle person, and then Rizzo's like, Coach, Devins is a middle person. Like you can't like he's the middle. He's a middle person. Like you are targeting a middle person with a middle person telling the middle person about the middle people.
And it's not as if the middle people are like, there's like two middle people between two groups. It's like there's two people on one end and 5 people on the other, and the middle people are like 7 people. So if you're one of the 7 people and you're the middle people, you're like, oh, we're actually on the bottom. We're the enemy group.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What a surprise, So it's just, it was just, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go before we get to this scramble, because we got a lot to talk about during the scramble. Immunity challenge. Why aren't they showing the schoolyard pick? Like you get so much from that. Like we have Jonathan and Christian as the captains, and how did they pick? Did they get to go back and forth as the captain, or did the person they pick then get to pick the next person? I'm sure we're going to see like an extra deleted scene from either Survivor or one of the journalists, but I think that this is more interesting than watching an homage to Stephanie on The Journey.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
I don't know.
Jonathan's team was horrible. I mean, Jonathan.
Yeah, so who did he pick first? Who did he pick first? We got Sari, Chrissy, Rizzo, Tiffany, Coach, and Aubrey. Did he pick Coach first? Did he get to pick second? Did Christian pick first? And then Christian picked Ozzy or Joe, but the fact that Ozzy and Joe are both on that tribe or on that group versus Jonathan having either one of them, I don't get it.
Odd.
He must have picked Chrissy or Coach. In part because he's kind of like theoretically aligned with them, but also in part because I think that Jonathan was probably like, what I need help on in this challenge is the puzzle and not the pushing the boulder part. So that's why his team is a little less strong. Yeah, well,
Chrissy and Coach. Did he have to
because
pick?
He's got to pick for somebody who's cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, of course.
He's got to. So like, yes. If he was picking the best puzzler, he would have picked somebody else, but they're not cut from
you
the same
do
cloth.
Actually, if you are a captain, like if you're Jonathan, you're trying to get as many people in your alliance on your team in the hopes that you win so that one of you gets immunity, right? Is that the play? Is that the strategic thinking in these moments?
I mean, the thing about the immunity, though, is that like maybe you do want to stagger and have like your best guys split on two different teams so that you have like contenders, on both sides.
Because you also don't want like 7 people who are not aligned with you at all, like having a feast or not having a feast, able to talk strategy too, right? Yeah. You want somebody in there that can relay back to you if something juicy was talked about.
So you want to spread it across both groups. Also, another thought here is, did they have to choose girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy? Because they're both men won this rock draw to be captains. So then it's like, okay, you each have to pick a female. Now you each have to pick a male. Like there's so many ways that we just didn't get to see on camera. I'm sure, again, we will probably, because that tends to be as we complain about not seeing how the group was split. They show us how the group was split the next day. So I would have liked to see it here in the episode, just because it does give you some idea. There is strategy to it. And also it gives you an idea of who's working with who a little bit better. Like there's something, it's like seeing who's sleeping next to each other was one of the old things on Survivor. This is also one of those moments where you can kind of like, if you're on the outs and you didn't know it, like watching how this schoolyard pick goes down could give you a little bit of some insight there. Do you want to win these challenges this early on, Drew? Are you trying to win immunity at all costs?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think that like the field is so stacked that like you're just never going to be seen as a bigger immunity threat than like Ozzy, for instance. I'm kind of of a mind that like play to win at every possible opportunity. I don't know. But I mean, some people will say like, oh, I'm going to throw, I'm going to sandbag. For me, Survivor's a game of probability. And so you always want to do the thing that probabilistically will make you safe the most amount of times. And so that's winning immunity.
Is it though? Because then you become an immunity threat if you win some and then start losing. Initially, my first time playing, yes, I was like, I'm going to win everything I can at all costs, no matter what. Blood versus water. It wasn't that I was necessarily trying not to win, but I didn't care, which I think made me less competitive in those moments where I was like, I have the numbers. Winning could actually be bad because it could make me look like more of a target. It's fine if I don't win.
Yeah, and I do see that, especially on like the constitution of those seasons in terms of like who you were playing against. But on this season, you have Ozzy, you have Joe, you have Jonathan, who for them, they're going to be seen as physical threats, even if they don't win a single challenge. So they just can never escape that aura. And vice versa, if you're not one of those three, you're never going to get to their level. I mean, it's really you're really going to have to win like 5 challenges to be like, oh my God, this is an Ozzy level threat. So I just feel like it doesn't really matter when you have such powerhouses. Whereas for you, in contrast, Tyson, I feel like on Blood versus Water, I mean, really the only guy I would have looked at and said like this is a bigger immunity threat is like Brad Culpepper, and even then that's like debatable, because of the NFL thing. So like if you had really dominated challenges, your threat level would have gone way up because you had no coverage.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
But you were there. Yeah, I don't know. That's just as a viewer,
Yeah, and I think I was the challenge threat going into the season. People were looking at me as this person. So to not win so many challenges, I kept me safe. I think it kept me more safe than if I had won a few. And then people were like, oh, we might not be able to get rid of him at the end if he's winning so often. But we do get Ozzy win. That kind of felt good. Did anybody else like watching Ozzy win an immunity again?
Well, after he's been like so kind of pathetic in the challenges.
Wow, pathetic is the word you use.
He went to every tribal council. Tribal council. I mean, obviously yes, totally fair. I mean, obviously the individual challenges are where Ozzy shines the most, but I mean, dude, he was complaining about his back on like day one. He was like,
I couldn't tell if it was from hunching or from hitting the bar against his back. Because if it was like a superficial surface thing, that was a different thing than hunching over and hurting a vertebrae.
That'd be more fair. Okay, I read it more as like he just, pulled something or whatever.
Yeah, I couldn't tell which of the two it was.
No, it was nice. It was cool to see Ozzy win a challenge. I agree.
Yeah. And is he going to break Boston Rob's record here? He needs to win one more to tie and two more to be the record holder.
He could tie it, I think. I still maintain that Ozzy is the most remarkable and like freak athletic player to ever be on Survivor. I mean, at this point, he's like what, 45?
Yeah, probably, maybe a little younger than that.
Hasn't really been an easy 45. I mean, I don't think that guy's going to like Equinox. 44. Like he's just kind of out there living life. He's not like on the Jonathan creatine diet. And he's like, I mean, he's unbelievable. He's like a 3-sport athlete. Like he can do anything. Even though he doesn't have that much muscle mass per se, he's just so good and he's great at the skilled components. I really have enjoyed seeing Ozzy as like of all the returnees, maybe most of all. I feel like he's shown a lot of like growth and dimensionality that like wasn't there in Game Changers. And he's probably like the guy that I'm rooting for personally.
Okay.
So I'm excited to see him win.
They can get him. They can get him over that record if like the next challenge is like the hang on to the pole challenge. That's probably an Ozzy win. We get some more swimming challenges. It'll be him versus Jonathan, but we saw him get out of the water faster than Jonathan.
Yep.
Yeah.
So did they really wake up the beast here with Ozzy? Like he his parting words from the challenge where they don't know what's coming. They woke up the beast.
I can see it. Sometimes they give Aubrey these bajillion confessionals where it's like, oh, my game's just starting. Like I'm about to, get going. And you're like, okay, well, we wouldn't get all this shit about Aubrey if she was, she's going to get voted off next episode. And so, I wouldn't be shocked between the Boston Rob mention being included, who of course, like Boston Rob is like, Christ himself on the Survivor beach. And then that comment, I wouldn't be shocked if like Ozzy goes on to win another and at least tie the record. Okay. Yeah. I think there's so much game left. There's so many people. There's got to be so many more immunities up for grabs as long as he can stay in the game long enough to get a few more opportunities. I believe he could definitely tie and probably surpass. He needs two more to surpass. Did I forget anything from that challenge? Coach and Chrissy on the puzzle was a wild choice to me. I guess out of that group we had, who did we have there? We had
could have been like Aubrey,
Suri, Rizzo, Aubrey. Rizzo. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't a wild choice.
Yeah, you don't want Rizzo on the puzzle.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they don't know that. He knows that. They don't know that.
That's right.
I mean, maybe he was like, do not. I cannot.
Don't pick me. I'm actually terrible at puzzles.
I mean, Coach and Chrissy got close. It was fairly close, it looked like. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So let's go to the scramble, which I just find so entertaining. There was so much. I have so many notes here. We get Chrissy. She's saying it's the two targets are D and Aubrey. It's between that. And we get Aubrey having these conversations with Suri and Coach asking about her idol.
Dude, the one where Aubrey is like, I'm going to play my idol to Suri, and Suri's just like, don't forget.
Yeah, don't forget this time. And she laughs. I believe that now that you say that, that's maybe one of the catalysts for Aubrey actually playing it instead of dangling it again, is Suri being like, don't forget again. Like, we're watching.
Yeah.
We're all watching.
I wonder if she had if she'd just been like, yeah, I felt safe. And especially because last tribal council, Genevieve played shot in the dark. So she could have said, hey, once I saw that Genevieve played the shot in the dark, I knew how unsafe she felt. So I didn't want to play my idol. Like, that's the perfect cover. If she'd done that, I wonder if then she could have done, a similar move this episode where she keeps the idol. But once you do the I forgot to play it or whatever, it becomes such an embarrassing thing. It's like, yeah, just burn that thing.
Yeah. I believe that if she would have been like, I felt safe, so I ended up just not playing it, I think nobody would have had another conversation about it. Would have been totally fine. But the fact that she was like, oopsie doopsie, I forgot. It's like, did you? How can you? We're playing Survivor and you have an idol. You're one of the few people that have an idol in the game. And you said you were going to play it and then you didn't. And you just said you forgot. Like, that's too much. It's just too much. Yeah. Coach, his descent into madness continues. When the army needs a general, count Coach in.
Rallying the votes.
There's so much here. Coach is dancing with Aubrey, like doing this weird, like, Coach is like full Dragon Slayer, to the point where he's like Dragon Slayer is back in full force.
Says I'm back, baby.
Yeah. Like, why did they not target Coach here? Like, everybody's they're watching him creating haikus to himself and then clapping for himself and giggling to himself.
That's why. That is why they didn't target him, because he is doing a great job as being a distraction. You got to keep him there as long as possible. Will he get any votes if he keeps making everyone upset? Doesn't matter. Let's just keep him here.
Stephanie asks at one point, she's like, is he trying to get voted out? And Chrissy's like, I don't know. And I feel like it is so unknown that you're like, maybe we just keep him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't, he's not threatening in the way that like a real vote driver or a real leader is, I don't know this for sure, but I suspect when you're playing with Coach that you kind of have a feeling of like superiority, where it's like, this guy is so ridiculous. Like, this is not a threat to me. Like, I don't need to worry about this guy. Like, eventually like karma will strike him down and like, we'll just like chug on. But then the flip side is Coach actually really benefits from that, because he is a pretty effective and aggressive vote driver. Like, he's really unafraid to like push the numbers and to like order people around. And so if he was more competent, he'd probably be less effective at ordering people around, because they would be like, well, this guy's like, this is a serious threat. I mean, this is like, this is like some PE guy who's just come in and acquired my company, and I'm like now working for him. Like, I gotta get out of here. But he's so kind of ridiculous that you almost don't even really know how to like respond. And I think that he also probably is benefiting from the sheer number of people on the beach. Because when there's that many people, it's like being in a stampede. That like, it's not like individual conversations that move the needle. It's crowd dynamics. And so if you're just one person in this wave, you do have a kind of sense of like, well, I'm subordinate to the crowd. And it's like with the momentum of the crowd. And so if you can just have somebody really loudly like pushing the direction of the crowd, like, that's enough. So I mean, like, of course, Tyson, I'm sure it's the same way, but whenever we have like a situation like this, you go back to your season. And on my season with the Caleb vote, Kendra, Bruce, and I were just really loudly saying it has to be Caleb. And even though actually the majority of people didn't want to do Caleb, every single one of them just says like, okay, well, I'm only one person and I'm in the stampede. It's difficult to mass up against that. I thought it's
easier to just go with the stampede at this point than to try to push the tide.
Absolutely.
There's like, who has the power to push the tide? And also, like you said, to your credit, to Coach, is not threatening. People aren't looking at Coach being like, oh, he's going to take us. He has this game in a stranglehold. Yeah. They're like, nobody cares about Coach driving this vote. It's easiest to go along with it because he's so riled up right now. And then we'll just get rid of Coach later, or I'll just beat him in the end. Like, I don't, either way.
Totally. And Coach's real mistake was attempting to do the split. And there's a couple of reasons why that's wrong, because like, first of all, I thought it was pretty unnecessary. And second of all, he tried to get too cute with it. But third, if you're just going on a momentum vote and like there's this whole mass of people, and they're all going one way. And so even if you have your own little agenda and you don't agree, you're just pushed that way. The moment you like split that up into like individual people having like responsibilities, you're giving them all the agency back, because you've boiled down that kind of like the fluidity of the crowd to like an isolated network where there are like 7 people with this job and 4 people with this job. And if you're like one of those people, you just say, okay, well, now I know exactly like the nodes I need to hit and the switches I need to flip. So you're giving up the kind of like anonymous force of like the mass majority, which has been so effective in these first like 2 merge votes through the entirety of the new era.
Yeah. And also, nobody wants to vote for the person coming back into the game because you don't want to admit that. There is something to like just lying about the direction you voted, but also that's more difficult to do. So you see the conversations happening where everybody's like, well, I'd rather vote D than vote Tiffany. Well, I would too. I'm going to actually be the one that votes. Like it was just like, you can't also be the person that's telling someone to vote for Tiffany, because nobody wants to vote for the person coming back into the game. And so I think also that if coach is telling me like, Tyson, you need to vote for Tiffany, in my mind, I'm like, okay, coach is okay with throwing me to the wolves a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
So I just want to list all the things coach did in this moment, and then we can react accordingly. We already talked about some of them, but coach is very upset at the plan being so hard to orchestrate, visibly upset, can't believe how difficult it is. And then he tells Rick that Christian is in the middle and he can't play with middle people. And then Rizzo, famously coaching coach, says, slay dragons at tribal, not at camp.
And so good line.
Yeah. Good line. Oh, some finger snaps there for Rizzo. That was a great line. Rick and Emily deciding or wondering if they can then target coach. Like, can we flip this all on coach? Is there a part of you that thought they were going to? Like maybe there was going to be some coach votes? Or was it just like a red herring and we knew it from the get-go?
I mean, when D got up to like do the live tribal as strategy thing, I knew it wasn't going to happen. Because the people she went to like, remind me, she went to Ozzy, and who was the other one?
She went to Ozzy. Let me see right here. So D goes to Aubrey and Ozzy and says, I'm voting for coach and I have the numbers.
Okay. If Aubrey is like the person you're selling it to, or at least
if you had the numbers, why even tell?
Yeah. I knew she was toast at that point. I think that like, you know, it's so easy for us to like sit at home, and I'm like more guilty of this possibly than anyone in like the entire Survivor community, and be like, oh, this was obviously the strategic thing to do. Like, you know, you guys are buffoons. But you know, it's a lot harder out there, obviously. And I think that also these people are really playing with a lot to lose, because, you know, you can't overstate like the psychological dimension of like, I'm going to return and get all this screen time, and like, you know, I'm going to ascend to like the legacy of the Survivor great. But then also there's a kind of consciousness that this very well may be the second to last major returnee season. You know, who knows how long Jeff is going to stick around. It took forever to get to this point. The casting was so insanely grueling. And you'd also, at least I'm one of these players, I'm thinking that like they had to shove like 24 of us or 22 of us on the beach. Like clearly there's not going to be like, you know, a season next year where like they're going to bring back the other people. And so the point I'm trying to make is these people really have a lot to lose. And so with so many numbers on the board, a lot of people have kind of a like, let's bide our time and wait mentality.
Yeah. Stick around as long as we can. Yeah. Don't get in the crossfire and live to fight another day.
Yeah.
I do feel like D, despite this being an episode that's kind of full of like some mistakes from her that ultimately lead to her going, overall, I feel like this season added to her like Survivor legacy a bit. Like overall, I feel like she played pretty well coming in. We were talking pre-game, and she came in with the biggest threat level of anyone other than maybe Savannah and Rizzo, just because they were unknown. So I thought it was like a pretty solid showing from her. Now she gets to be Mayor Ponderosa.
Yeah. Anything else at tribal council jump out to you?
Have we seen somebody intentionally use the threat of a live tribal council like that before? I thought that was kind of like a new idea. I feel like live tribal could happen.
What do you mean? Like prep their allies for it, kind of?
Well, I mean, I guess prepping Tiffany, but like I felt like live tribals have typically kind of like happened organically because somebody's like really panicking.
Yeah.
But part of Dee's strategy there was to intentionally use the live tribal to like cause chaos and hope that something would happen as a result versus attempting to orchestrate a vote via the live tribal. I thought that was kind of an innovation. I thought that was something new and creative. But maybe it's happened and I've forgotten. I haven't watched 48 and 49 super closely, but thought that was cool.
But do you think she told too many people that she was going to do that and it got back to the group anyways? So they were like, okay, everyone heads up. Dee is going to stand up at tribal council.
Who could she have told other than like Tiffany, you know? I mean,
she told Tiffany. Did she tell Aubrey? No, she wouldn't have told Aubrey because she went to her. So
maybe could have told Emily.
Maybe it was fine.
And Emily could have told everyone else. I don't know. But
Yeah.
at the very least, it was a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, especially when your back is against the wall and you realize that like you have nothing to lose by just trying more and harder and different stuff. Tiffany votes for coach and says, you're a self-righteous hypocrite. Do you agree with that statement, Drew?
Dude, I love Coach. Like my girlfriend, she can't watch the season with Coach in it. She hates Coach so much, but I love Coach. And so from a place of love, Coach is absolutely a self-righteous hypocrite. Like there's just no doubt, you know?
Yes. Yeah, it's what we love about him. Oh man.
Is Coach going to watch this episode and enjoy watching this episode?
Dude, Coach knows he's a self-righteous hypocrite. Like deep down, like I bet if you get Coach drunk, like he can kind of like own up to it a little bit. You know? You don't think so? I know maybe you guys are boys. You can't
it's
talk
so
about
hard
him like
to
this,
tell.
but
it's hard to tell. He did text me and say, you're going to see the Return of the Dragon Slayer soon. Like he texted me that. So he's definitely knows it's coming, but I don't know if he knows to what extent or degree it's coming. Riley, you were going to say something about your wife's love for Coach.
Well, she's similar, Drew, actually, to your girlfriend, where she hated Coach for a while but now has actually come around and loves him and is loving him on this season, which, but she we watched South Pacific years ago and she was just like, I cannot stand this guy. It was almost like, I don't even want to watch any other season that he's on. And I was like, please just keep watching, just stick with it. And then I feel, we've had him on this podcast a couple of times and I feel like he does come across with maybe some more self-awareness than what we typically see on the show, but then I don't know, sometimes it just collapses and you're like, no, he's just actually like this. I don't know. It's very hard to get a handle on him, but man, he is just such one of one. And this episode, I loved watching.
Awesome.
Yeah. We also get Joe's firehouse reference, Suri immediately shooting it down. And then Joe apologizing for his firehouse reference at the end.
You can't apologize. It's like committing seppuku. It's just like standing up and I'm so stupid. Oh my God, Joe, dude. Come on, man.
I thought he was apologizing more in jest. Just I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to start a whole discourse. It was just my thing. And then it became a thing.
You can't do it.
It was kind of I didn't understand where he was going with it. Cause he was in the firehouse, we solve our problems, out in the open by talking or whatever, and not with all this lying and deceit. And it's well, yeah, in the firehouse, you're not voting people fucking out of the firehouse. No, of course you're not lying to each other.
Well,
what is the problem in the firehouse?
And then there's a
there's
bunch
a fire,
of people
we gotta
that
go
get paid.
take care of it.
Yeah, it's a company almost.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing whatsoever.
I'm not a firefighter, so I don't know what the social dynamics are in the firehouse, but I gotta feel like they're much different than what happens on Survivor.
Yeah.
I thought that is what it's like to be in the majority. That if you're in the majority, you guys do kind of get together, ostensibly make the decisions. There is an implicit hierarchy. Yeah. There is a boss who is really deciding what happens.
Who is the boss
on that alliance?
Coach?
Yeah, it's definitely Coach. I think Coach probably is pulling. I think that Jonathan is his number 2, and I think that Steph probably has some sway, and then Chrissy and Joe are along for the ride.
Okay.
Imagine if Coach were actually like the fire chief at a firehouse.
Probably some houses would burn down. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's still more Coach. I looking through my notes. There's more Coach. He said a quote. Emily said there was a lot of conflict after the blood moon, and then Coach said a quote, and Jonathan had to translate it to everybody. Or I think
only
Jeff
in silence,
actually was like,
the word, only in darkness, the light, only in dishonesty, truth.
Yeah.
Devins, I can't translate that.
Yes. And Jonathan, or somebody saying truth will be revealed. And then everyone's whispering and Coach is just chilling. And Jeff approaches him again. And he's like, sometimes when I'm boiling inside, I speak in riddles, or I put a mask on and relax.
So good.
That's good.
It's so good. It's so good. He's just gold.
Yes.
Dee played her shot in the dark, and rightfully so. And I just feel like Aubrey should have held on to her idol one more time. If you're feeling safe, like, you still disagree with that?
Yeah, I kind of do, because like the thing is that like Aubrey is just the perennial easy vote, and she can't play that idol on anyone else to build equity. And so if she plays that idol finally, and like if it works, everyone's pissed. If it's wasted, everyone's like, well, this was for nothing. Like all this hoopla. She's just the outsider. And this is not a new problem for Aubrey. Aubrey's been the outsider every season she played. I mean, she got kind of lucky on Go Wrong in a lot of ways, just with like how the group dynamics worked out. Game changers. She was so much the outsider that she got like 4 confessionals the whole season. She just had no part in anything.
And she made it to like final 5 or 6 or something. Yeah. She made it like far that season.
Yeah. And then Edge of Extinction. I mean, a kind of leader role by virtue of like being a returnee, but similarly was the outsider, had no allies at any point. So like this is like a continuous problem with Aubrey's game, and she, hanging on to the idol is not gonna fix it. She's got to like attempt to reintegrate.
To your point too, actually, when you play an idol that does not matter in that moment, it's a mark against you in the game. So it takes her threat level as someone who could win in front of a jury way down.
Yeah.
I think eventually, like, you get to the end, maybe she gets to the end, she's like, I knew I had to burn it to even get here. But in those moments when you're watching that, you're like, okay, she played her idol incorrectly. It was inconsequential. It didn't matter at all. She just threw it away. That's not necessarily like a power move.
Totally. And almost there's a way in which the like I forgot thing does have like a slight little upside, because it does create a narrative where Aubrey can play her idol like legitimately without also raising her threat level. Right? People could be like, oh, that was she made the right move with the idol. But then also there's no like peak of like, wow, idol maniac, like, getting people out and undermining the majority.
Right.
So it was kind of a weird situation where I think there are some unusual pluses to like playing the idol and unloading it.
Yeah, I agree.
So
with all
should
that.
Rizzo and Ozzy like unload their idols too at some point?
I think they'll have to at some point.
Like play it prophylactically to just get it off the table, or like play it for themselves.
I think they'll have to play it prophylactically at some point, to use your terminology. Yeah, I think that's going to be, especially like if Ozzy keeps kind of winning challenges and stuff, he's just going to have to just like burn it. Maybe
that's what kind of stinks too. It's like if Ozzy does keep winning challenges, then he has this idol that he just can't even use, right? Because he can't.
No, he's going to use it at some point.
Well, you have to not win a challenge.
Move for Ozzy would be to win a challenge and play the idol on himself, just to flex that he's definitely burning the idol.
That would kind of freak me out. That's got too much aura. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Bro's got too much aura on that move, because that would make me think like, wow, this dude really thinks he's going to win every challenge. Like,
okay, what's more aura? To win a reward challenge and go by yourself, rejecting Jeff's offer to take other people with you, or play an immunity idol on yourself when you have already won immunity.
Going to the reward alone would be like in and of itself enough to return for a captain's season. Like I would bow down and worship, as a viewer, if you went to the reward. That's the kind of thing you would do, Tyson, you ever come
I've
back.
been preaching for the entirety of my tenure here at the Ringer that I regret not going on a reward by myself when Jeff's like, choose 3 people, Tyson. I'm like, how about I choose 0? I need some R&R. Let's go to the yacht.
You've been saying
myself.
it for so long that I'm actually surprised it hasn't happened yet.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened either. Yeah. And if it doesn't happen this season, I don't want to have to go back on Survivor ever again.
Do this? Just to win one reward. And then you can also be like, all right, I did my thing and now you can all just vote for me. And I'm going home.
I wanted to do one thing. I wanted to do one thing here and I did it. Like, I'm not even playing for immunity. I'm just trying my hardest at the stupidest reward. It's like the Charmin where it's like, get toilet paper when you poop. And you're like, oh, dude, balls out. I'm going so hard on this so that I can go to the Charmin outhouse by myself.
You're sitting back during the immunity challenges so you can save your strength.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, dude. Like, Drew, that's too much aura. You think
that's an aura overdose, man. I think that's just like over the top, like one of the sickest people to ever be on the show. Like you'd be the host next season, like instant legend status. I love it.
Oh man, so much regret. That's literally the only thing I regret not doing on Survivor in my time is winning a reward and going by myself. Let's get to Riley's reads. Riley, what do we have?
Who did the most to advance their game this episode?
Drew, what do you got? Anybody advance their game this episode?
I feel like Rizzo continues to position himself really well, but I don't know if he really did much to advance his game. I think maybe Aubrey or Coach. I think that if Colby was really the center of the alliance,
Coach.
Yeah. No, I think Coach is pretty solidly like solidified himself as the boss of that group, and I think that he's gotten Ozzy and Sarita to take his side and the succession crisis between D. So I think in terms of like straight up power dynamics, he's probably the guy I would feel the best about. But I think you seem surprised, yeah.
Well, let me ask you this then. So, are the people who are playing honorable and loyal looking at Coach thinking he's playing honorable and loyal? Or like for me, maybe there's a little bit of like, oh, is Coach even like the same caliber as us as far as honor and integrity go? Like some people are questioning that publicly to his face. So then he has to constantly combat it, or are they on his side? Like, are they drinking the Kool-Aid or are they not? That's the question.
Well, I feel like the issue is more so that they've made their beds with Coach. So then it's kind of like, well, to betray my ally is to act dishonorably. It's less so that like, is Coach as honorable as I am? But it's more so that like because then it's about me. Am I going to behave honorably? And so I think that I don't think there's any world where anyone in that group, save Jonathan, thinks about turning on Coach.
Okay.
Let's hear some other answers, though. I feel like I've shocked. There's a lot of disagreement on this one. Who do we think is?
Well, I'm thinking like who advanced their game like this episode. It was just kind of like I don't feel like voting out D necessarily was the strongest move, but I do think that Rizzo continuing to build something with Suri sitting in a great position, pulled in Stephanie too, because she read the lie and then was okay with it. I'm going to say Suri. I think Suri doing that to Stephanie was pretty strong. Like you do feel some loyalty to someone who offers you immediate forgiveness as they've caught you in a lie.
Totally.
Ashleigh?
Yeah, Ashleigh.
I'm gonna say Joe. Joe was not in the business this episode. He could have very much gotten to the business of honesty, integrity. Did you see his eyes in the hammock when he was holding back. He was holding everything back into the hammock. And I feel like, with Coach yelling at everybody about never lying and he could have joined and been like, yeah, guys, look at me. I've never lied once in my life. But he didn't. He's been in the shadows, just listening to Coach, just nodding his head. And I think as long as Coach is going, which I think Coach is probably going to go pretty far, as long as Coach is going, I think Joe will be right there. So I think it's helped his game.
Okay,
Riley. I think Rizzo. D spilled his secrets, and then she goes home. And he also has Sari coming in, like immediately telling him about Stephanie's steal a vote that she won at the Journey. So he is like, this was the episode to me where I was like, okay, Rizzo has like fully shed the like, I'm the unknown, like can't he be trusted? We haven't seen this guy or whatever. It's like, no, he's like locked in with a good alliance, and has found a group to play with, and is kind of just playing now on his own terms. So I feel like I was impressed by him.
Okay. What's next?
All right, who damaged their game the most? Now we have too many options.
Yeah. You only have 13 people to choose from, Drew. Is that going to be enough?
I guess I already said Coach. Although I do maintain that Coach really improved his
Did he both advance and damage his game?
You gotta look. There's the surface level and then there's infrastructure, which is like surface level. Coach did a lot of crazy shit and like seemed like insanely unreliable. But infrastructurally, in terms of like coalitions, I think that he has like built a really solid group that is going to be fairly easily convertible into a majority. Because I just don't see a world where the new other group, which will be Christian and Devins, is going to seem like more honest or at least like less dangerous than, or excuse me, more dangerous than Coach, who doesn't seem very dangerous at all. So I stand by my Coach thing. For who worsened their game the most, it's hard to say. I feel like Tiff's in a really, really tough spot. I feel like not reading the tea leaves and voting for D is like a great way to ensure you're still on the bottom. Even though I really like Tiff, but yeah.
I think she knew it was going to D. I think she just was like too loyal to write her name down. And I don't know if people are going to necessarily fault her for that. And there is a world where you're like, oh, she's so loyal to D at this point. Like if I can win her over, I know she's not voting for me and she's fighting for me, because she did fight pretty hard for D until she realized it was a lost cause. And then was like, I'm not burning mine down so that D, to protect D, because it seems like it's not going to work. I think Coach did the most. I think that if you're in an alliance with Coach and you see Coach kind of go off the rails a little bit, that is scary. Like, how far off the rails can he go? This seems relatively minor and he's losing his mind. So if it gets more combative down the road, can I rely on him to do the thing he says he's going to do, or to have my back? That's where I think that like it's a problem for Coach, is that there is something to being unlikable to the majority, because then nobody's threatened by you to win at the end. So that definitely is powerful. But if you do so much so that you've lost the trust of your allies, then that's an issue. And I think Coach is on the cusp of that.
I'm going to say Emily. I don't know how many more times Emily can tell everybody secrets before, and I feel like it's bad jury management as well. You're telling everybody secrets and they get voted out. They go on the jury. Her reputation is just
especially
like
when
bro.
She's not necessarily targeting those people to go out. She's just telling their secrets. I think it's one thing if you tell their secrets with the specific intent to target them. But if you're not and they go out, you don't even get credit for their exit. You just get them their animosity. Riley, what do you got?
I have Coach too, for kind of the same reasons that you said, Tyson. And I feel like even some of these people in the Honor and Integrity Alliance are getting rubbed the wrong way by him. Obviously, we talked about Joe and the eyes he was making, but I feel like there was some Jonathan too, where Coach is like trying to share his haikus, and it's like, all right, no thanks, dude. It's fine. So I think that there could be a scenario coming up where if you have a group and it's like, we just need a vote that's relatively more consensus, Coach could end up being that consensus.
Yeah.
Even though then he'll be on the jury being like, I will make sure none of you win somehow.
The honorable. Only the honorable. Yeah. So the one person from the honorable integrity group that sticks with Coach, that doesn't flip.
They win the game automatically. He's going to have that sway over the jury. He's sure of it. Who are our winner picks after this week?
Drew, who you got as winner pick?
Oh, you guys always make me come up with it first.
Yeah, we do make you come up first.
It's fair. I'm the newbie. I'm the guest. I don't think Coach, even though I'm a lot higher in Coach than you guys are, I don't obviously think he's going to win. I think that Jonathan looks really good. I hate to say it because like he's so new and he doesn't deserve it, but I think Rizzo looks really good. Doesn't deserve it in the sense that he's with like Suri and Ozzy and all of these, obviously he's played really well. I'm just looking at my list of the players because there's so many.
Yeah.
I think that those two are probably my picks. Jonathan and Rizzo look really good to me right now.
Yeah. I don't hate it. I feel like Jonathan's going to have a tougher time in front of a jury than like Tiffany's already pissed at him. Dee's pissed at him. He's got blood on his hands. So that's an uphill battle for sure. Rizzo, I really like that pick right now. Like he seems like he's just integrating himself more and more. I can't stay with Tiffany. She's by herself now, and it seems like she did not vote how everyone else voted, which is also a problem for those people, unless someone can see the loyalty in her sticking by Dee, even when she knew Dee was dead. I guess I have to go with Suri. Like she's just getting more powerful every single episode. Like she's sucked Rizzo fully in. She's now sucked Stephanie in. I think she's in a great spot. I don't see how she avoids making fire. But maybe she can make fire. I don't know. So I'm going to go with Suri. I'm going to ride with Suri now.
I am not going to give up on Tiffany. I've had her as my pick since before the season started. I'm going to say she's going to get out of it. I don't know how she's going to get out of it, but hopefully so she still has Aubrey, and then Aubrey could maybe include her into whatever she's up to, but then she's trying to get with Coach. Would Tiffany be able to? So there's a lot of different things that Tiffany might be able to happen. I'm rooting for her. She can do it. I believe in her.
Riley?
I'm sticking with Suri from last week. And I feel like she just continues to get to be in a better and a better position. It's, she just, every episode, she ropes somebody else in.
Yeah. We're not seeing a ton of her, but every time we see her, it's her looping another person into her group.
Yeah.
But
and they're not throwing her name out.
There's just no chance she gets to the end.
That's what I believe.
She looks good, but there's just no chance.
Yeah. I agree. That's my belief as well.
Okay, gotcha.
But who looks the best right now? She looks like one of the best. She is the front runner. Nobody's saying Suri.
Yeah.
Day one, people were saying Suri. Then everything changed and nobody's saying Suri.
All right. I'll give you guys that. That's true.
I was on the exact same line of thought as you, Drew, for a lot of the early part of this season, just being like, how does she even make it to final three? And now I'm just like, I don't know. How does she make it to the merge? Like, how does she get through any of this when she's Suri? Like, maybe someone just brings her, I just can't put it past her anymore. She's just magic. So the final category is who's going home next week. Let's start somewhere else. Tyson, who's going home next week? Drew, I'm sorry. We always put you on the spot.
I know my answer.
Okay, tell us.
Okay.
Devins or Christian is going home. 100%. I'm going on Kalshi and betting on it. I'm that confident because why would they have shown the hidden idol in the refresher at the beginning of the episode? It didn't come into play.
Yeah.
Keep doing that.
And the ground was laid with conflict between Rick and Coach. Like Christian or Devins is going home next up. It's a toss up which one, but I'm like 100% confident.
I think it's Coach. I think if he can't pump the brakes on the way he's moving, people are just going to get fed up with him. And that's like enough, especially in a big group when you're trying not to create separation. If everybody can be like, okay, it's Coach's time to go. Let's just do it. Why not? So there's also a ton of people still left in the game. There's going to be another multi-elimination. Is that going to happen next week? Are we going to see it down the road a little bit? Who knows? And if that's the case and they split up, how many people do we have in the game now? 13?
13.
So they're not going to do a split tribal council, probably.
Yeah, on the preview, Jeff says something like, "Oh, there's another twist. It's double the consequences."
Oh,
I don't know what that means.
Double the consequences, double elimination, probably, maybe. So I think that right now, any twist where the group is smaller and has to go to a tribal council, coach is in danger for sure. So, yeah, I'm going to say coach.
That's a great point. I was going to say coach just because I'm upset that they try to put Tiffany out. I'm offended on her behalf. And so I was going to say coach. But yeah, now thinking about it, in terms of the vote, they already just got rid of D, and D was a really big threat. And then I'm trying to think, it would probably be like Rizzo, but Rizzo is so connected. And if you're going down the line, the only person who's really making a big thing at camp is coach. Everyone else is being very quiet. And that's just not good. People like a little bit of time to sleep instead of eat because they can't eat. And if coach is telling everyone you can't lie either, it's just too much for brain. So I get it.
Coach can't go, guys. This is going to be a disaster if he goes. He can't go. I mean, he's like half the entertainment value, you know?
Yeah.
I hope you guys are all wrong.
I was scared he might be going this episode because we were getting so much of him. I was like, oh gosh, is this I'm gonna go the other direction and say, the person who was, I don't know if left out of the vote, but maybe left herself out of the vote, and just say Tiffany. Clearly on the bottom. I think so far on the bottom that probably the vote moves to someone who's like a bigger threat. But I'm not sure who that person would be at this point. So maybe Tiffany.
Anything else before we go?
Thank you so much for having me. That's what I've got. Always a
pleasure.
pleasure.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, Drew, thank you so much for your time and energy and all your insights. We love having you here, and hope to have you on in the near future for next seasons. Tomorrow, we'll be talking with Dee at Exit Press, and I have a very special surprise for everyone. So you will not want to miss this. Tune in as well tomorrow to our Exit Press and everything else we got going on. Like, I wish I could say it, but Riley and Ashleigh do not know what's happening. And it's one for the ages. So until then, thank you all for tuning in. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks again. Until tomorrow, see ya.